Best man. In feudal days, weddings were rife with the possibility of rival lord trying to break up your wedding ceremony and steal your bride for political reasons. To prepare for a possible battle, the groom would ask a friend with fighting skills to stand with him during his marriage and act as his best man, helping to defend his bride from possible kidnapping. Stool pigeon. The origin of this phrase goes back to when pigeons were considered a good food source. Hunters would take a tame pigeon and tie it to a stool in order to attract its wild brethren. Because the pigeon that was tied to the stool was used to trap others of its kind. The term stool pigeon became used to describe anyone used to sell out his friends. Put up your dukes. This is a common, if now a bit old-fashioned, challenge to a fight. The origin goes back to Frederick Augustus, the second son of King George III. Frederick was the Duke of York and was obsessed with fighting. Because he became synonymous with the activity, fighters nicknamed their fists Dukes of York. The phrase was later shortened to just dukes. Crocodile tears. Crying crocodile tears means to fake being upset or force tears that are inauthentic. An ancient anecdote by Photius claimed that crocodiles weep in order to lure prey, which is most likely where the idiom comes from. Spill the beans. In ancient Greece, some voting was done with beans. White and black beans were used to determine the nature of your vote. Citizens would cast their votes with the bean color for their choice and drop it in a jar to be counted by the officials later. However, as one might expect, on a few occasions a clumsy voter would knock over the jar and reveal the beans and the outcome of the vote. The phrase came to refer to someone who reveals the truth or hidden secrets. Stigmatize. This word has come to mean a stain or a mark of shame. Its origins are from the stigma itself, which was a branding iron in Britain. When a criminal wasn't sentenced to death, they were branded with the stigma to mark them as criminals. For example, A meant adultery and T was for thief. Later on, when we stopped branding people, society continued using the word to label someone negatively, indicating that the person should feel shame. A son of a gun. The general idea behind this phrase can be traced back to the days of sailing ships, when the wives of sailors sometimes accompanied their husbands on long ocean voyages. As privacy was scarce aboard these ships, the story goes that if a woman gave birth during the voyage, the delivery would often take place in the most secluded place available, between the cannons on the ship's gun deck. The child's birth was then noted in the ship's log as a son of a gun. Smart aleck. The phrase smart aleck arose from the exploits of Aleck Hogue, a celebrated pimp, thief, and confidence man operating in New York City in the 1840s. Hogue, along with his wife Melinda and an accomplice known as French Jack, operated a con called the panel game, a method by which prostitutes and their pimps robbed customers. He ended up going too far, however, when he cut the police out of a deal he'd made to keep out of prison. Today, the phrase smart aleck means a person who is irritating because they behave as if they know everything. Let the cat out of the bag. This phrase dates back all the way to the Middle Ages. Unscrupulous vendors in the marketplace would sometimes substitute a cat when someone bought a piglet, putting the cat in a bag where its thrashing would look like the struggle of a pig. Once the buyer walked away, they would let the cat out of the bag, revealing the trickery. Today, it means, reveal secret carelessly or by mistake. Honeymoon. According to tradition, a newly married couple was compelled to drink a fermented honeyed beverage for about a month after the wedding, from the time of one full moon until the next, for fertility and luck. This month of drinking and festivity was dubbed the honeymoon. Get the sack. Sacked. In today's parlance, it means to get fired. The origin, however, is from the 17th century. Artisans used to come to work with their own tools for the job, usually carried in a sack. When an employer wanted to fire someone, all he did was hand him his sack and tell him to take his tools and leave. This phrase still has the same meaning today, only now the sack has been replaced by a cardboard box to take home one's personal effects and office plants. Skeleton in the closet. In the 17th century, doctors of medicine found that obtaining dead bodies for study was difficult. So difficult, in fact, that they would be lucky to get even one in their entire lifetime. Because of this, the body they obtained would be treasured and never discarded. But, obviously, society frowned on keeping corpses lying around. Doctors rectified this by keeping the skeleton in their closets. The practice was common enough that many patients just assumed that every doctor kept one hidden in there. Today, the phrase means a discreditable or embarrassing fact that someone wishes to keep secret. Sleazy. The origin of this word comes from a linen cloth that didn't hold up well. It was originally sold in the Silesian area of Germany and purchased by London merchants for resale at a very low price. Eventually the public came to realize that the cloth was of poor quality, and it was nicknamed sleazy for the area where it was manufactured. The word sleazy soon became synonymous with anything that was of low quality, didn't hold up, and was grungy looking or inferior. A majority of English word roots come from Latin and Greek. Even English words that come from other languages like French or German are sometimes originally Latin anyway, so they were Latin first, then became French or German, and then they became English. Let's see few examples for better understanding. Air. Meaning, air is all around us. It's the invisible gas that creates our atmosphere. Without air, we wouldn't be able to breathe. Origin. The word air has gone through a few languages before ending up in English, but it probably comes from the Greek word air, which means to blow or breathe. You can actually find words that use both air and air. Phone. Meaning, a phone is a device that's used to communicate with people from a distance. Origin. The English word phone is actually short for telephone, which comes from the Greek words for sound, phon, and far away, tel.